I'm giving up sugar for Lent, and that's kind of how I feel. Like
Ooh,
it's just today.
100%. Hannah, I
yeah.
saw something that it wouldn't
Honestly,
let me send it to you, but on Pinterest, I saw this funny thing. It had to have heard you talking to me about Diet Coke. Um, but it said, I'm not addicted to Diet Coke. Diet Coke's, oh, no, it just says, what if Diet Coke's addicted to me? And I was like, I gotta send this.
That
exactly.
explains it.
So it's sugar and artificial sugars. So
Yeah, yeah.
I've heard
um,
that that is an
She's in it.
amazing experience, though. So I hope it turns out that way for you. I've never tried it, but
So
others
fun.
said it was transformative. So
so fun. Yeah, it's so
Oh
fun.
boy.
Makes me think of God all the time when
All the
I
time.
I am constantly praying.
yeah.
Goal achieved.
It's
Oh,
amazing.
man.
Lord have mercy. Where are we going today, friends?
All right, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Get Mom Ready. You have Meredith and Hannah and Anna again today, while Holly is off with more clients, doing more travel, and she's actually flying right now with Iris. So sometime soon, we are going to unpack how this season of travel has been for her with and without her kid alongside her. But for today, we are going to talk about how to ask for help in all ways, shapes, and forms. So whether it's something that you struggle with or something that a friend of yours is struggling with, and you want some practical tips on how to help them get out of it and get the help that they need, we are going to unpack a lot of that today. But first, we want to thank our sponsor, PediPed. I want to read this little clip because I was actually going to PediPed to find shoes for Emmy today, and they said that they were awarded the seal of acceptance from the American Pediatric Medical Association. And I was like, that is so cool. So they really
Oh,
are, I know, right? They really are healthy, helpful shoes that can go along with your kids as they develop and grow. So go to
cool.
pediped.com and use code MOMREADY for 20% off your first order.
Great. And I was
And with
even talking to
that,
someone the other I was even talking to someone the
yeah.
other day that said that they had shared the code, and I was like, "Yay, this is so
Oh, that's
exciting."
fun.
She said
Yay,
her daughter was
PediPed.
looking for shoes that were, better for her feet, had a bigger, space for, all of your feet to move. So
Yes. Yeah. And Emmy always wears her shoes on the wrong feet. And I don't know if it's intentional or not, but she like refuses to switch them.
Oh,
And I
okay.
actually had a mom come up to me the other day and was like, did you know your kids' shoes are on the wrong feet? And I was like, yeah, we're working on it. You got to pick your battles, whatever. And she's like, well, it's really bad for your feet. And I know, I'm
I,
really sorry. I'm
oh
working on it.
boy.
So anyway,
You
yeah.
just want to say, you
You
know
know,
what, ma'am? I invite you into my child's bedroom when they're getting ready, and you can have
yes,
the power struggle.
yes.
Actually, did you want to do that? Thank you so much. Like
Yeah,
when
can't
she's
wait to
right
Ethan's
there.
switch
not
You
up
can
with
wearing,
talk
me.
to her.
that's right. When Ethan's not wearing socks, well, his feet are cold. I know that. The child won't wear the socks, so you can have the power struggle. In fact,
Exactly.
rock on, ma'am. I
Exactly.
cannot with the unsolicited advice. I
That's
cannot.
sock.
Are his feet cold? I bet they are. What a bummer because he
You
keeps
should ask
taking his
him.
socks off.
Ask him. If he says yes, I will put them back on him. Okay.
That's a good plan. I love it.
Oh boy. All right. Sass, I'll tone the sass down. I'm sorry you had
Hey,
that experience, Anna. Honestly, is really
we've
what
all
I'm trying
been
to say.
there. You know what? We've all been there. I was with a friend and I looked at
Yes.
her and I rolled my eyes and she was like, I know. Like, I at least
We
had
might
camaraderie.
we might need to at some point have a conversation on something that I have been thinking about, and that is something I struggle with. You might think it's surprising to hear what I'm about to say, but I do struggle with this. Direct communication. I
Hmm.
think
Ooh,
it could be an interesting conversation for women specifically to have about direct conversation, saying what you mean, meaning what you say. It doesn't have to be mean. It doesn't have to be anything. It can just be a little more clarifying than, well, are his feet cold? Or, well, I mean, she was direct with you. Let's be very clear. But like in general, I've also gotten like it made me think about other times I've gotten roundabout comments about the care of
yep.
my child. Well, his head must be cold. Ma'am,
Where's his
again,
hat?
won't keep the hat on. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like I thought, you know what I want? I want to freeze my kid's head. Let me stick him out. Like I didn't think that. So why don't we not, you know what I mean? Or like my mom one time, I love you. She's not listening, honest to God. She was going up. She wanted to watch the TV downstairs where I was. This is like over a Christmas break or something. And she, instead of saying that, or like, hey, we watch the news at night. Do you mind going upstairs? She says, well, Mayor, can I get the remote? Can I find the remote for you for upstairs? I'm like, I don't know what okay, why don't you just say, hey, Meredith, move upstairs. We watch the TV downstairs, but it was like, what are you having trouble finding the remote for upstairs? I'm like, I'm not. Are you having trouble finding the remote? Anyway, okay, back to the
Direct
topic.
communication, which is today. I mean, it is
Yes.
It kind of is. And with
something
that,
that we are talking about today is communicating and being able to share your needs or what you would like help with.
Yeah, yeah. And I actually, so yesterday we were talking about this topic yesterday, and I saw that the Big Little Feelings Substack, they posted an article, and she was talking about how she and her husband, when they got married, like had a very natural kind of 50-50 split of responsibility. And then they had kids, and he was still super helpful. But she just realized that she was the one carrying all of the mental load of children, like when they size out of clothes and then where to put the clothes when they size out of them to save them for the next child, and also ordering new clothes, and also where everything goes in the room, permission slip. I mean, I don't even have to go on because we all know all of the things that most of the time I feel like the mom does naturally carry. And she was talking about how it's helpful for her to just say something like, it's happening again to him. Like, hey, it's not passive aggressive. It's not like walking around the house, storming around, but just looking at him and saying, I feel like I'm carrying a lot. Can we have a conversation? Like, where can we shift things? And it seems so simple to say that and do that, but I find myself not doing that so often. And I feel like a lot of people find themselves in that position of either passive aggressively storming around the house or just doing it because they feel like I should be able to do this. Like, I'm the mom, I got this. I've done it for all these years. I can still do it today. But it shouldn't have to be like that, right? Like, even if your house isn't 50-50, that's totally fine. Like, you and your partner figure out what that looks like for y'all. But when you are feeling overloaded, how to have that conversation, like scripts you can say, or how to even know internally. I feel like sometimes that's the first step, is like, you're feeling scrambled, but it's not even that you're thinking, I wish someone would help. You're just like, I'm overwhelmed, and you don't know to ask for help. Like, you don't even know that that's the next step. And so figuring out like how to take responsibility for the help that you need, you know?
Wait, pause.
Yeah.
That's a powerful statement. Take responsibility for the help that you need.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I
Wow.
think the first part of that is trying to see it as a neutral. I think a lot of times, and I think even in our current like social media climate, I think we're hearing so much anger and so much rage when it comes to the mental load. And like, I do understand it. I feel it. Like, I do understand that there is anger when it comes to maybe the inequality of it all. And that is also not the way for us to get out of it. You know, like, it's like we can be upset about that. And I think we're allowed to be angry. But if we're coming in the actual, personal relationships that we have, if we're coming to those relationships as angry, blaming, putting down, or just like, I'm doing it all and you're not doing anything, you're coming to the relationship at a place where the other person's not going to want to listen, right? They're going to be on the defensive, and they might be feeling the same thing. Like, I think something that and Dave and I, like, over and over will say to ourselves, like, this is too much for both of us to handle, because there is this like competition of like, I'm more, I'm more, I'm more, I'm more. And it's like, well, I'm doing this. Oh, look, I unloaded the dishwasher. Look, and it's like, yeah, okay, because we're both doing too much. Like, parenting is just like more than anybody ever. Like, even when you have two people doing it, like, it's too much stuff. Like, you're never done. You're never at done. Equal, unless you have like a boatload of help. It's always too much. And I think recognizing that just initially recognizing, like, I know that we are both overwhelmed, we're both overworked, or we're both, have so much on our plate, and we're really just trying to, chip away at it. It kind of neutralizes it to be like, okay, now can we have this conversation of what do we need? Like, what needs to change?
Yeah.
I wonder too about, okay, so I have an example to just throw in the pot here. And I'm going to pair it with a therapeutic thought. So I
think
my thought here is like when you are starting to feel overwhelmed or overstimulated or resentful, like resentment starts to creep in, and I'll give you my example in a second because all those things were happening in that moment for me. It felt like a pressure building literally in my chest. So in that moment, it was helpful for me to get in touch with my body and go like, okay, I'm feeling something. It's feeling not pleasant, and I think it's some anger, and there's probably some other stuff mixed up in that, and it's happening in my chest. Okay, it's this thing again. And then I was able to communicate what that thing was. And that was this. This is gonna be the ode
happening again.
to people everywhere. I don't want to stereotypically say women, but whoever manages the house and does all that stuff in your house, you'll know exactly what I mean. And I thought I was hand washing dishes, and Scott was around me helping in the kitchen. He was doing something. But let's call a spade a spade. The person behind the sink is doing the heavy freaking lifting. That is what's happening here. It's not like putting food away is helpful and moving things around is helpful. But when you're constantly the one, I thought if I had to write a memoir tomorrow, it would be behind the sink. Like, this is where I live, this is what I'm doing. And I was like, and that is where my resentment lives. It's not that you're not helpful. It's not that I don't see you doing something alongside me. It's that I want you to step in and say, I will continue hand washing. I will continue like cleaning food and debris. Like, it's almost lighter of a load for me to put. It almost feels like, let me in the supportive role. Like, the way I see it, I could be completely off here, but like the way I see it is like putting food away and drying and putting away. That feels supportive to the person at the sink. And when you're constantly the person at the sink, you constantly feel like, to use the phrase from our friendship conversation, the CEO of the kitchen. And I don't want to feel like the friggin' CEO of the kitchen all the time. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, I'll be the supportive role for a second. I actually don't mind drying and putting away for once. I need you to literally step in. Like, this is the thing, is what I said to him. I was like, this is it. I see that you're helping. I want you to do this. I want you to go, hey babe, I've got it. Let me finish hand washing the rest of those. That would feel unbelievable.
Yeah. So I think this is so interesting. And this is something we were talking about at our book club the other day, and book club in air quotes, because we haven't read a book in a while. But so there's certain things that certain people like to do. So for me, Meredith, I'll be at the sink. I don't want to be putting away the leftovers and sweeping under the table, and like I will sit under this water that's like
warm
beating down
hot,
on my hands, like just rinsing and putting in the dishwasher or whatever, even hand washing. Like, give me that. I'm just standing here and I'm chill. But I think there are tasks that are that task for all of us, right?
Yes.
And so there's the task that's like, he might not care, right? He might take over that role and be like, well, I kind of like doing this. And so then you both get a win, right? You get to be the supportive role around your kitchen. He gets to do the dishes, and it takes something off of you. But that would only be known because your brains are different. Our brains are different. Our feelings are different. Our sensitivities are different. That would only be known if you spoke it out loud.
Yeah.
Right. He would he might never know that. I might like, even me, like thinking about that, I'm like, oh really, you don't like doing that? But like, no one would know how that task was making you feel. And what we were saying at book club the other day is Holly really loves the Fair Play
I've got to read
deck of cards. And I guess the first thing in doing those, once you split it up, is you pull the ones that you kind of like things that you enjoy, or things that are like, I don't mind doing this. Like, laundry has to get done. I don't really mind doing the laundry, or, meal planning, in her house, like Elliot loves to cook. Like, he takes that card, and that's something that he's like, that's something I'm good at. That's something I like to be in charge of. And so then she happily takes the dishes, because she's like, I'm not going to be the cook. And so I think that is a great way of like, splitting up these things, are like, what are the things that we know have to get done, that are the things that are naturally, more
draining
enjoyable
or enjoyable for some. Yeah.
yeah, like if you're choosing the things like that's you're naturally
Uh-huh.
more enjoyable, and then also things that are more draining. There's something about certain tasks, and like Dave and I do this sometimes too. Like if it's my task to do, like write an email to somebody that's like not very consequential, but because I'm supposed to do it, sometimes it just feels really overwhelming, and I'm like,
Yeah.
can you just do this for me? Like I'll do
Yes.
something for
Yes.
like it's just like I'll do something for him that like it's taking him so long to do, and I don't know why, but for
Yeah.
me it doesn't. Oh, that's easy for me to do. Give me that. I'll
Yes.
call that place or I'll do whatever. Whereas like, oh, I have to write this email. It's like I don't want to do it. So sometimes we'll like trade off with things like
That's
that just
nice.
because it's something we've procrastinated on. It's something that like I don't know, like grunt work. It's just so it's a
Yes.
mind game.
Yes.
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 Yes. That's sweet.
Do you do that too, Anna? Like, or are there
Yeah.
things that you're
It's
just
just
like, I just
so
can't do it?
it's so relatable. Like I'll have something on my list for weeks and it's usually something like an email or calling a place or doing a return or something like that. And
Yeah,
he's like,
yes,
"Oh,
a
I'm going to
return.
pass that place on my way home from work." And I'm like, "I've been not doing this for 3 months. Like why didn't I think to ask you?" You know?
Yes.
And it's like it's just been this crazy place in my head that's like adding so much, and it's always like the smallest stuff too. It's
Yeah.
never anything big, you know. But yeah. So I am curious if there are situations where people have tried to have these conversations with their spouse and like their spouse thinks that they are carrying a lot, right? But like if you were to pull out the fair play cards and like compare the decks, they're
Mhm.
not even, right? And that's kind of what we're talking about here is that potentially they might never be even, right? Like
Yeah, they won't.
a lot of the times the women, especially for, you know, moms like us who do work from home, it is easier a lot of times for us to finish things like the dishwasher, the laundry,
Yeah.
because or even like sweeping, whatever it may be, because we are here, even though we are working, we are also the people who don't have a commute, whatever. So I am curious, like mentally, or maybe it is a conversation, how like does a mom who feels like their deck is just like this tall and their spouse's is like so tiny, like how do you manage that in your head? If you feel like you've maybe had that conversation and things just aren't shifting, like, do you feel like you just become okay with that and you find a way to like be okay with that? Or do you try to have the conversation in a new way? Like, I don't know. Do y'all have any thoughts sparking for someone who like, they're like, I've done this, like it never changes anything. We slowly slide back into me doing all the things, you know?
Yeah. So I think one thing that is usually helpful with like a spouse that, like wants to listen and is, a partner. I can't speak for relationships that aren't, you know what I mean? Like, cause you could say
Yeah,
something to
yeah,
someone, they might just be like, oh, I don't care. And it's like, okay,
right.
that's not great. But I think sharing your impact, right? Like sharing the impact that this is having on you. Okay. So whether this is, hey, I am staying up really late at night trying to finish the laundry because I can't do it, during the time that I'd like to do it. I'd like to spend time with you at night, but instead I'm, sitting here folding the laundry or putting it by people's doors or, doing, cleaning up the kitchen or doing all these things. If we work together, or if you could take, part of this from me, we could spend more time together. I would be less exhausted in the morning. Like, these are the ways. I think sharing your impact in a non-blaming way, right? Like
Yeah,
your husband or your spouse or your partner or whatever, like they didn't like on purpose make laundry for you,
yeah.
like if you're the one that's in charge of doing it, right? Like they weren't just like,
How many outfits can I wear today? I'm gonna
right.
go
Well,
roll
that's
around in the
sometimes how I
dirt.
feel because Dave travels. So like he'll have like no laundry for a while and then I'll come home and I'm like, why do you have so many t-shirts? Like why are there so many t-shirts? So I think that sharing the impact, and then also you could share, and I know this is more work, but it could be a means to an end. Share some market research on how much it would cost for certain things. So something like, I'm thinking like HEB makes like more easy meals, right? So if you
Yeah,
want to eat, you still want to eat healthy, but meal prepping or whatever, or you're finding what are some frozen, like, okay, let me get a frozen bag of fajitas and a,
right.
pound of ground beef. Like what are some easy ways,
Yeah.
to do certain things, or how do we make the same meal plan? Or you know what? Like I'm gonna plug this on here because our friend Julie put together these meal plans, and she literally has meal plans with the grocery shopping list. You can buy a
Brilliant.
week, you can buy a month. She hostess, and it's like, let me take the mental load off. So like, okay,
Yep.
that's maybe $30 or $40 that you're
Yep.
paying to support a local mom, but also take the mental load, like
Yeah.
at the
Totally.
grocery list. And she's using, okay, the fruit for this can only for the parfait for this can also go for the
Yep.
oatmeal for the morning or whatever.
Yep.
So there's things like that you could also kind of research and say like, hey, if doing the laundry isn't something that you can help me with, or that you could take on, or doing the dishes or something like that, like isn't something that you feel like it's going to cost this much a week, like can we do that? And in like, I don't know, I'm thinking like, in a way, as I say that, I'm like, it feels very like, can we spend money? But like you're doing this together, like you're making this choice together, and
Yeah.
you're saying like, these are things that have to run. Yeah, you know what? I wonder why. That's an interesting question. Why do these domestic tasks feel so, I want to say like gendered, or like so, um, yeah, maybe like hard to talk about, but it's the truth. Like it's like, we
Yeah.
kids have to get their room tidied. Like, the floor has to be vacuumed, the dishes have to be done, the laundry has to be done, the shoes have to be put away. Like all of these things
I feel
have
like
to
it's
get.
like kind of what we were talking about with money last week, where it's like
Mhm.
historically, it just always has been. I mean, for as far back as eternity goes, I think it was like, women take care of the house type of thing. And it's only been in the last, I couldn't tell you how many years that women have started really going to work. But I mean, since our grandparents, is really when it started, I feel like. But the household, conversation hasn't changed as quickly as women going to work has. And so,
Yeah.
and there are still, I feel
Mm.
like, giftings given to certain people. And I feel like a lot of times, like women are, maybe gifted in certain areas related to organization, or, I wouldn't say cooking. My husband's a better cook than I am. Elliot is a better cook than Holly,
Mhm.
but I feel like, there are certain giftings given to different people. And so maybe that's a different way to look at it too. Even if you're not doing like the fair play cards, maybe it's like, okay, you're really gifted, and no one's gifted at things like laundry, but organization, right? Or like, hey, you really
Maybe they
have
can
an
like do it
eye.
fast, or like,
Yeah, exactly. Or
or
like you
find a
can
new
do it while you watch
system.
TV. Yeah, for
Mhm.
Like
sure.
find a new system. I've seen a lot of different systems, and I've thought of different systems in my head too, because I'm like, shouldn't be folding our laundry or things like that. And I have to admit, well, one, in the years and years ago, more people had help. Like I think there
Mm,
were more people, it was more normal or more
Communal.
common for, yeah,
Yeah.
for people to have help. I mean, think of
Yeah.
servants, and think of like, like there was help, and things were communal. So maybe dinners were
yeah,
communal, or things like that. So it's like you were cooking with other generations. Maybe your parents were living with you, or your aunts and uncles. And so it wasn't just one person doing all the childcare, doing all the laundry, doing all the cooking, doing all the cleaning. Like it wasn't that
Yeah.
way. There were more
Mm.
adults together, and
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
not the same now. There's more working mothers now. And so it can't all fall, like we're making it seem like, oh, you just have to get a better system or things like that,
right.
and then you'll be able to figure it out. And I just keep going back to this, like it's too much for any one person. Like you try your
Yeah.
best, try to simplify, and this is what I was thinking with the laundry. I mean, we're on the laundry, but this one mom has, I think, like 5 boys, and she just has a laundry room, and then for her 5 boys, each one of them just has a basket, and it's like their play clothes just get separated into their own basket. And so they've got like shorts and t-shirts and socks in there, and it's like their nice clothes are like in their closets and stuff, but
Yeah,
she just does the laundry, cleans it, and sorts it in the baskets. Like there's no folding, there's no, because the kids are just gonna rifle through it anyway. It's play clothes.
exactly. Yeah.
um And so it's like that's a system that works for them.
Yeah.
What I was saying is that want to admit, just to like be transparent, is that the person that helps with the baby twice a week, she also helps do laundry, because if she's sleeping, and
Yeah.
she can, and it's something she
Yeah.
enjoys doing. And so that's something that like keeps our house moving during the week, that it's like I still have to do laundry on the weekends. Like that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, she gets what she got today, which it was like sheets, everybody's clothes from
Right.
Thursday to Tuesday. Like you would be like, how is
Drowning in
For
laundry.
5 people. Yeah.
Drowning in
Yeah.
laundry. Drowning.
Yeah.
Well, a couple things too. One, to plug last week's episode with Becca with money. Her money challenge will tell you where your money's going. And then you can assess, okay, we're spending way too much on X thing and we don't really need to. But if I took that money and I got a maid once a week or twice a week, or a couple hours Tuesday and Thursday to help with XYZ thing, or whatever, like I got someone to come sit with so-and-so while I ran so-and-so to whatever. Like these are things that can start to get clarified when you just sit down. Like her challenge takes 15 minutes. And so I just want to plug that. I think that is like massively helpful. The other thing that I think that is tricky, this is not a solution. This is just like adding this like human thing to the conversation. And that is this. I completely understand that that Scott works outside the home and like he has a demanding 12-hour a day job and all the things, right? And so I'm like, it's fine that my quote job is what it is. And then because it's also in the home, I'm attuned to all the stuff that needs to happen in the home. Okay, whatever. Yeah. However, where it gets tricky, and I can't tell if this is my own just shadow or if this is just kind of what it is, that I don't know what to do with this, is what I'm confessing. Where it gets hard and tricky is that our home is still our home. I don't go to work with you and then just like slack off. Like that's not, we do not work together, right? Like, it's not like I'm, or that you're like, this is where it gets so tricky. Our home is our home and you are still a member of this household. Like, and you go to work, and I want to honor that because like, and I don't mean in a traditional, like I'm honoring my husband, like that's fine. That's all that can be there. But like
in the same way he respects your working at home. I know what you're saying. It's so
just
hard.
different.
Like
you just kind of acknowledge, right? But I acknowledge, okay, cool.
You're physically not here.
He's not just like sitting around doing that. He's not sitting around eating donuts. He's literally at a physically a different place and making money doing his thing. Cool. He's earning his keep in all the ways. Got it. And it is still tricky when you cook a dinner that you both eat and you're like, I don't want to be behind this freaking sink anymore. Do you know what I'm saying? And like you add a kid into that and you're like, well, I've cleaned up on my hands and knees 5 times today. I'm at capacity. You can handle it. And that's fine. Like that's a shared thing that we both, but I do think like with the household stuff, it just feels stickier, and it's not always fair of me, but it just feels like you do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's really hard. And I think something that I'm thinking like this we implement, but we have so many kids, so it just kind of works out this way, is that one person starts the bath and then one person does the dishes, and we just kind of choose like that night, but the person that does the dishes gets to like listen to a podcast or
well, that's so
it's like we kind of always like
that's us too.
I and so it's kind of like, but then I feel like I'm giving Dave a gift if I let him do the dishes.
So
like,
funny.
You get to be in the kitchen kind of by yourself, or like the older ones like doing their homework at the counter. And so it's like she needs some help, but not as much help. But then the other person has to be like corralling, the baby goes right. It's usually dinner and then the baby goes right into the bath. And
same.
Like, so it's like whoever, takes them. So it's kind of a like,
it's a different dynamic with more than a baby.
Right.
Like your household's running very differently than my house because you got 2 bigs.
Of course.
Right. And so if you don't have that like natural transition, but I know also like at my parents' house, it's like whoever cooked, like the other people have to do the dishes, so it's like, that's kind of how we always did it. And so we still do that sometimes. It really doesn't, I mean, it's kind of it changes all the time, but I think in your case, let's just use your case, Meredith, because you're here. I think this gets to be something like a conversation that you get to have. Like, I feel like Groundhog Day. I have cleaned up this kitchen 5 times and I have to do it again. Is like, do you have the capacity for you to take the nighttime dishes? I'll put away the
Mhm.
leftovers, I'll wipe on the table, I'll sweep under the, high chair, whatever. And then I can go take Ethan for a bath, or I can go take him for a nighttime walk, or I can go, or I can relax for a second. Maybe Ethan just sits at his feet while he does the dishes. Like there are, I do think for somebody that spends the 24 hours, doing the majority of the mothering,
Yeah.
I think that's a perfectly requestable thing to
Yeah.
ask. Because
Yeah.
if he said that too, like if he was like, "Hey, listen, can I have 10 minutes?" Then you would be, "Hello." Like, how did you get that door open?
Oh, do you have
Um,
a child in your room?
and then she came in
Oh,
for a second, but
oh,
Martha got her. Yeah, like where are we even with? Oh, yeah, like if Dave was like, "Can I have 10 minutes to go close my eyes or like do whatever after a really hard day?" I'd be like, "Okay, sure." I wouldn't be like, "Yeah, great, like this is amazing." But
yeah.
if I
You'd be
had
like, you
the
had the
same thing,
commute for that. You're fine. No,
right?
I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
like if I had the
But kind
same,
of.
Yeah, I'm
if I
like cute.
yeah, right. But it's like I think you get to do that. You get to ask like,
Yeah.
"Hey, the dishes are it's just too much for me. The sensory overload,
By
the
the
this,
end of the
the that.
day,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, by
Yeah.
the end of the day, like I can't clean this kitchen one more time. Can that be something we offload?"
Yeah.
And I
And
yeah.
I actually remember now I did this for a second and I forgot to keep doing it. And that is this because what inevitably we'll use me as a case study for a second. Okay, we'll continue because I'm making it about me because here we are. What inevitably happens is I've cooked dinner. And when Scott does, when he can, he does. He's a great cook. So, but these days I'm cooking dinner. He comes home around dinner time. Ideally, we eat together and then he goes with Ethan to the bath and I'm like, okay, I don't have to do the dishes because I cooked, but then he's going to do the dishes. That delays us like settling down together.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So then there's
It's the
that. So I'm like,
trade-off.
so at
Yeah.
that point I'm like, screw it, I'm quicker at the dishes anyway, I'll just get in here and
Right.
do it.
Why are
But
we
then I'm
so much
pissy about it.
quicker?
Hello, we just are. Like, I'm sorry, I am very good at it. I don't want to be good at it, but I am. So
I
I'm
know.
like, I'll get it done, whatever. But then I'm pissy about it, and that's on me. I've got to change the attitude there. However, one weekend I said to him, "Hey, can I just pitch something to you? I don't want to do dishes on the weekends. I
Mhm.
do it 5 days a week, multiple
Sabbath.
times a
This
day.
is my
Yeah, like
Sabbath.
the entire weekend. I don't want to clean that kitchen. But the problem,
Okay.
but I don't know. I mean, I obviously forgot about it weeks 2, 3, and 4 because I did it the first and I was like, I haven't done that in a long time. But
Mhm.
I don't know. And maybe that's not the right answer, but I do think
If
here's
it
the,
works for you, it's the right answer.
well, that's fair. But like
So
the
if it works
emotional
for your
trade-off
family, yeah.
is like, I'm either resentful I'm doing the dishes again, even though
Mhm.
I cooked, even though I'm whatever. But the other thing is then I get almost like irritated that he gets like the calm fun time with Ethan in the bath
Mhm.
while I'm schlepping in the kitchen. I'm like, well,
Mhm.
cool, congratulations on and it's not his fault.
Of course not.
And he puts the roof over our head, happy about it. And it's
Sure.
this tricky human thing of like, great, you come home, the child's fed, thusly he's happy. Then you get to
Mhm.
go play in the bath with him and y'all have a great bonding time. I'll be in here as the kitchen help. And then like, cool. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to
Mhm.
take away his quality time with Ethan. That's precious to him. And I love that for him. And I'm like, well, I'll just be here continuing to like make the house run. And that
Yeah.
also sucks. You know what I'm
I've been
saying?
thinking of what's that?
So do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, of
She's
course
like,
I know what
actually,
you're
I
saying
do.
because it almost feels like it feels hard to like, is there a win here?
Right.
And there can be, and it's always going to be a trade-off. I think the
Yeah.
hard part is maybe the guilt that you might feel, like the empath part of you is like, if I do the bath, then that's robbing Scott of this time. And it's like, no, it's not. It's okay. You could alternate if that, that
Yeah,
would
yeah,
be
that's
an
fair.
idea. Monday, Wednesday, Friday,
Yeah.
Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. You guys could alternate doing bath time if that feels like. But yeah, I don't think that because he's gone all day, he automatically gets bath time. Or, I think you guys get to make this your own. I think the hard
Mhm.
piece here is the resentment. And if
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
sitting there, so and then there's the trade-off too. So if you want him still to have the bath time and you're like, okay, I'm giving that's my gift, then it means
It's a
later,
gift.
Yeah, right. But then it means later settling down because he will
Yeah.
come back and do the dishes. And
Yep.
like there has to be a trade-off. There's
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
gonna be this like perfect solution. Like there has to be some sort of trade-off. I
Yeah.
think of this even now, I said this before, but Nora was up all night and I was like at 4 o'clock, I was starting to feel like so lonely, like just like I'm doing this by myself. She won't stop crying. Like I I don't know. I don't know what to do. And then I hear Dave get up. He puts on his shoes. He checks outside to see what the weather is like, puts on a sweatshirt, and he goes to get her to go for a walk. And then I'm like, oh no, but now he's tired and he's got to go to, and it's like, you got to give something up. Like
I
either you
know.
shut your eyes and you go to sleep or you
Yeah.
both stay up. Like, what are you going to
Yeah.
go with
I
him? Like, what
know.
are you just going to
I
stay
know.
awake while he's taking the baby like out for a walk? Like, it's like there has to be this trade off because then I feel guilty. Like, well, he's got to
I
go to work
know.
and now he's going to have woken up
Yep.
at 4 a.m. and, whatever. But it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
taking this thing like, I have done this for too
Yeah.
long. I'm angry. Like I
Yep.
am
Yeah.
so,
Yep.
Yep.
I'm at, I'm at
100%.
the end. And even like
Yeah.
when we were talking about it today, he was like, I could feel it.
Yeah. It
Like
is
he was
palpable
just
when those
like,
feelings come when you're up in the night. It
yeah.
is hard.
Like
Like,
just why, yeah, like just going back and forth,
Yeah.
like just having to
yeah.
leave because I'm like, I can't be with you crying anymore. Like
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
I'm
right.
trying to get you back down. You're
I know.
pat, pat, shush, shush,
Yes.
Yeah. We've been
And
there,
then
done
when
that. We tried all the things. Like, it's just,
it'll make you crazy.
yeah.
Crazy.
It does make me think two things that are not super tangibly helpful in the moment, but something that's just been occurring to me over and over and over is that how temporary a lot of these seasons are.
Totally.
And so it's like, I was thinking back and I was like, I wonder what the things that I was like, what are the things I was resentful for 2 years ago that I
Yeah.
can't remember now? And I
Fair.
try to feel that now and be like, okay, so what am I resentful for today? Would a conversation potentially save me from feeling like that for 3 months while this
Yeah.
particular, phase is happening? If
Yeah.
so, let's have it. If I
Good.
feel like I could maybe do it because I know he's not going to want to do it either, and one of us just needs to get through it, yeah, maybe we trade off, or maybe I can power through this and just remember, like, this is so temporary. We will not be doing this battle forever. Some things like dishes and laundry are long term, those are kind of forever. But I have been hearing more and more, and this is more potentially parenting, so I don't know, but I've been hearing people talk about having their kids help more and more, and finding little chores,
yeah.
as young as 2 years old, of like, okay, you put your clothes in your room. Are they going to do it right? No. Are they going to put it away? Really? No. Like, do you still have to go back and kind of do it after them? But is it training them up to learn that they will play a role and that maybe by 5 years old, they will do it better? Same thing with
Yes.
cooking, dishes, whatever, and I get that there's, personality types that play into this. Some people want things done the right way. It's certainly going to take a lot longer to invite your kids in, but it is an option, right? Of asking for help. It's like using the
It
people
is.
that are in your home.
Yep.
And again, I understand it's actually creating more work. However, because
But
all
maybe in
things
the
are
long
temporary, in the
Yeah.
long
Long-term.
run,
Mhm.
it might become fruitful in getting you help, even if it's years down the road. So that's just been something I've been thinking about too. And I go back and forth on it because it is so much harder, honestly, to ask them, the little ones, for help. But I've been going back and forth and like testing it and seeing
Mhm.
like, okay, can I do it without striking a nerve in my soul today that's going to make me a worse parent? Like,
Yeah.
if I can't, okay, I'm just going to do it today. But on the
Okay.
days when I have a little bit more, I'm like, okay, you try putting your shoes in your closet and let's just see what happens,
Yes.
like,
So, okay, have you read Hunt, Gather, Parent?
no, but this is the book
Okay,
yes, that's
I'll
the
give you a copy
inspiration.
next week.
Okay.
I have a million. Meredith too, if
Yay.
you'd like one.
I
bought-
would, because this is the 80th time in 5 months that I've heard people talk about this
Yeah.
book. And
Yeah,
I've read
yeah.
similar adjacent books, but I need to read this.
Read
Keep
this
going.
one. Yeah, I'd love to do, maybe we could all read it and then we could talk about it on the podcast. I did a book club
Yes.
on it a couple years ago and I'd love to do it again. But
Yeah.
one of the things that she was talking about is having everybody work together, and it also being an expectation, not an ask, right?
Yeah.
Put the silverware on the table. Okay, please at the table. You know, like it's not like, can you help me? No,
Yeah.
this is the work that has to get done for our family.
Yes.
Come, I'm folding laundry, right? And so they could choose not to, right? They
Sure.
could, sit close by, or they could do whatever, but it's not this like, oh, could you help me out? And I think that's the same, like, this is the work that has to get done in our family, and how we get it done, I guess doesn't really matter, but being a little bit more like, like maybe
Yeah. Authoritative
like
instead of
authoritative
invitational.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
instead of like, could you please put your
That's
cup
right.
in the sink to help mom? And it's like, no, like you ate dinner.
I
Put
mean,
your
it's
cup in the
like, are
sink.
you ready for
Yeah.
dinner? No, we're eating dinner now. Like,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
we're not
time for
asking a question.
dinner.
This is what's
No.
happening.
Put your shoes on. It's time to
That's
go.
right. Did you
Like,
want to put your shoes on? I don't care. We're going outside.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. And then I remember this from the toddler years that I will be using, I'm sure, very, very soon again.
mean, same.
But it's like, would you like to put them on yourself? If they don't put them on,
That's right. That's
would you
right.
like
Here's
to
a
put them
choice.
on yourself, or would you like me to put them on? Oh, you're choosing
Yep.
for me to put them on.
Yep.
Get in the car.
Yep.
Like it's not, do you want the red or the green? There, you want the blue. We don't have a blue. I guess I'll just go to Target and get another. Like, no. But anyway,
Lord have
down that
mercy.
rabbit hole.
Yes.
But that, like, yes, we are a family. And I will say it takes time.
Yeah.
Something that is helpful, which I'm like, okay, maybe Dave needs to go out of town again, because when he is out of town, the girls, I don't know why, but they are so much more helpful. They have her own bedtime routine, like, because I've got to put the baby down and I'm like, okay, you've got to brush your teeth, you got to get into your PJs, you got to get into your bed. I mean, they basically put themselves to sleep. And I'm like, I come in after putting her down and I'm like, okay, we'll read some books. And I'm like, why don't you do this when dad is here?
Right.
Like, why is this easier?
Yes.
It's just like, they know they got to step it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hear that
100%.
so much from my friends that have multiples and that have a spouse that like travels a lot. And it's just, I mean, thank goodness, right? Like it would be terrible if that wasn't true, but it is. It's just that mystery of like, why can't you always be helpful? Like, oh man. Well, I feel like hopefully there are some nuggets in there that are relatable and helpful for everybody. I feel like we're all to some extent navigating that constant conversation in our mind of feeling a little bit overwhelmed or a lot overwhelmed, and just wondering, how do we navigate that? How do we get through this season? And how do we ask for help in a way that is, still honors the other person and still recognizes all the things that they're already doing around us? So hopefully there's some takeaways, and we'd love to hear from you if you have any suggestions that we didn't talk about of conversations you have, scripts you use, tools like the Fair Play cards that help you kind of figure out how responsibilities are doled up around the house. We would love to hear that from any of you. So
Tell people how they can get a hold of us. What's the best way for them to give us those suggestions or comments?
Yeah, so you can, on our About page at the very bottom, there's an email address. It is info@thereadynetwork.com, and you can email us anytime. You can also send us messages on Instagram. If you have our phone numbers, you can text any of us and just let us know what thoughts you have, and we can share them. When we get lots of suggestions, we can make blogs with all the suggestions that we get in them. But we always love to hear from you about what you think about the episode and any future topics that you'd like us to talk about. And on getmomready.com, you can also go to schedule a call at the top, and you can book coaching sessions with Hannah or Meredith or Holly or myself about anything that you feel like is resonating with you. So we'd love to hear from you. And with that, we will see you all next week at Get Mom Ready.
Bye, everybody.